Hi there, Shalon Day from Bible Journaling Ministries. I can't wait to journal along with you using this month's newest digital stamp, He Determines the Stars. I will be journaling in my art journal, and I will be using the verse Psalm 147:4 as my journaling verse. I will be using acrylic paints, a paintbrush, a old gift card, as well as a splatter brush from Ranger. I will also be showing you how I use acrylic paint on vellum with the digital stamp to create a beautiful journaling entry into my art journal. So if you're ready, let's get started.
So this is our digital stamp for this month. He determines the stars. And I don't know if you have ever tried using acrylic paints on vellum, but that's what I'm going to show you with this digital stamp. I printed it on vellum, and I have a plethora of acrylic paints here that I'm going to use, as well as my Posca acrylic paint pens. Now, you can use whatever you have on hand. There's nothing special. I just chose some colors that I loved. And with my Posca pens, I've got just these colors. And so if there's something that maybe I want to do on the image that it's a finer detail or something like that that I don't want to use my paints on, I can use my Posca pens. So I just wanted to show you that and offer that suggestion to use. And what I will start with is by turning over my image. So I'm going to use my acrylic paints on the back side of my image and paint where then as I turn it over, you can still see the lines and all of the outlines of things. So the back side will be where I paint. And I'm just going to use my ice cream bucket lid as my paint palette, and then just some normal paintbrushes. Nothing expensive, nothing. In fact, I think I got like 10 of these for $1 on Amazon. But I'm going to use these paintbrushes and then just baby wipes because I'm not going to be using a lot of paint. So I just wipe my brushes off with a baby wipe. I am going to, once I go to put this in my art journal, my verse that I'm going to be using is Psalm 147:4. And that says, in the King James Version, it says, He telleth the number of the stars, he calleth them by all their names. Now the World English Bible, he counts the number of the stars. He calls them all by their names. Now in other versions, it does say he determines the stars. The NIV says he determines the number of the stars and calls them each by name. The name of our digital stamp this month is He Determines the Stars. So that is why I chose that verse to be my focus verse. You can choose whichever ones you would like. But I also think I'm going to do kind of a space type of background in my art journal around where she is going to be. So I'll do that, kind of layer down and get my measurements in my art journal, and then I will come back with blues and purples and pinks and whites and do kind of a space type illustration in my art journal itself using acrylic paints. So I will speed up the video because it's just painting. I'm just going along, following the lines. Now, what paints am I using? I'm using Americana multi-surface acrylic paints, and I'm also using some glitter acrylic paints in gold, in lavender fog, and sterling. Now, these are my color Pantone acrylic paints. This yellow is an Americana, and this brown is called Mississippi Mud. It's also Americana. So I just picked out some of my favorite colors to do all of her. And like I said, if I choose to do something that's a finer detail, And I don't necessarily want to use my acrylic paints. I'm just going to use my Posca pens to do that with. But as I'm painting on the back side, then I'm not covering up the actual image here. But because it's on vellum, it's going to show through with the color. So I will paint all of her and then come back and we will cut her out roughly, kind of get an outline in my art journal, and we will do a background for her around the image, and we'll create that space type of background. So if you notice, I started with acrylic paint and my little paintbrush up here on this star. Then I grabbed my yellow Posca pen and I did the smaller stars, even though they're different shades of yellow, but I just wanted to stop for a moment and show you on the back side how that looks. Look how bright that is. And you still have the outlines of the stars. So in these other stars, I'm going to use my gold acrylic paint, and I may come back with some more of my yellow acrylic paint as well, just to kind of different stars, different colors, that kind of thing. But I just wanted to stop and show you the differences in, so the Posca pen was for these smaller stars that I wanted a little finer detail, and then just to be able to use, this is just your basic little acrylic paintbrush. It's not flat, it's more of a round, but it doesn't take much, and really I'm not putting down a paint stroke. I am doing, I'm kind of just dabbing it, trying not to drag my paint, but just to apply my paint, if that makes any sense at all. Because I don't want to see streaks on the other side of it as I've dragged my paintbrush through my paint, if that makes sense. So I will get back to it. And I'm not using much paint at all either. So lighter is better. Less is more when you're painting on vellum. So I'll go back to speed up the video and I will come right back. So I have my stars done, and I came back and did some more of the yellow as opposed to using my Posca pen yellow. So let's just turn this over, and you can see the glitter, and once it dries you'll be able to see the glitter better on those. But you also have a difference in the yellow stars, whether it was acrylic paint or the Posca pen, which I love because not all stars are the same color. So we will carry on with just painting, and of course I've got a buff beige, and then I believe for her hair I'm going to do this Mississippi mud, and I got the pink for her lips, and then I'm going to use this turquoise. It's called Coastal Waters, and I'm going to do her shirt here, and then with the silver glitter and the purple glitter I'm going to come back and do the circles and then the little diamond shapes in each of those. So if the circles are purple glitter or the diamond shapes are silver. But again, I'm just using acrylic paints that I have on hand. I'm turning over my, so this is the way she's going to go down in my art journal. So I'm just turning it over and painting the back side like this. That's all I'm doing. And that way, all of the design the designs like the dark marks and everything will be visible as well as my colors. So if you've never painted on vellum, this is an excellent way, and it's such a relaxing way to use these digital stamps and be able to add color and then put them in your art journal or your Bible, or however you use them. If you download the PNG, you can resize this, so you could use it in your Bible. I just like to use the digital stamps in my art journal. That is just my preference. So I'm going to go ahead and continue painting her, and then I'll be back with you. I have my girl finished and she's dry. I did go ahead and add some silver glitter that I used in the little circles to some of these gold stars, just because I didn't get it covered as much as I wanted to, so I just went back through. But look how pretty she is. And I don't know if you can tell the differentiation in color, but the little circles on her shirt are silver glitter and the little diamonds are purple glitter. So that worked out well. I'm going to cut her out, and I'm going to lay her down on my page after I get her cut out. And I chose some more colors of acrylic paints: a navy, a purple, a pink, which is different than the pink that I used on her lips, and then a different turquoise, kind of a darker turquoise blue than I used on her shirt. So here's the difference. I don't know if you can tell that or not, but this is more of a robin egg blue, and this is more of a turquoise. And then the pinks are different. So this is more of a vibrant pink, and this is more of a muted pink. But I'm going to lay her down after I get her cut out, and I'm going to just trace lightly with a pencil around her cut out, so that then I can create like a space background around her using all of these colors. I'm going to start with my dark blue, and then I'm going to move to my turquoise. Now my white that I have here, I'm going to use to make like stars. So I'm going to take my, I don't know what kind of brush it is, but it's a flicker brush. It's a Ranger brand, but I'm going to use this to just flick that white paint to kind of make it look like stars in the sky. But first I have to cut her out, and I'm going to lay her down and just trace around her. What I have decided is I'm going to take my white Posca pen, because my background is going to be dark as I'm laying down first this navy color and then other darker colors. But I'm going to use my white Posca pen and write my verse, either up here or maybe around her. But I'm going to write the verse Psalm 147:4 in with my white Posca pen. I might change my mind. I might go with a yellow Posca pen. I don't know. I just thought the white would be prettier. So I'm going to cut her out. I'll speed up the video. We'll come back and then trace around her, and then we'll do our background. So I have my girl all cut out. And I'm just going to lay her down on my page here. And I'm going to keep my hand on her to at least keep her in place. And I'm just going to use just a regular number 2 pencil and just trace around her. Why I'm doing this is because I don't want the background to necessarily be under her, because she's already got paint on her and I want to make sure that she sticks to my page, which nothing would show through. So if you didn't want to trace around her and kind of make your background around the space where she's going to be laid, that would be okay too. I still haven't figured out how I'm going to attach her yet, if I'm going to use double-sided tape, if I'm going to use glue dots or just regular Elmer's glue. I haven't decided that yet, but I just don't want to do the whole page. I just want to do around where she is going to be. So I'm just kind of roughly tracing around her to give myself kind of a template. If I get a little crazy with my paint, again, she's already painted, so she doesn't have any spaces that the paint would show through. So it wouldn't make that much of a difference. And again, just a rough outline, just to give myself a little bit of a template to not, I guess my silver paint is still a little wet on one place, and that's okay. So I'm going to start, and again, I'm just going to be using these very basic paint brushes. I'm going to start out with a layer of the navy blue. You could do black if you wanted to. That would be okay. I just like the navy. And I'm just going to I want the whole background covered in navy, like the sky. So I have my navy blue done around my image. I think I can probably get rid of this. Well, maybe I'll just leave it, just in case. So now I want to go in and just make some streaks, or I don't know really what they're called in space. Maybe just some patterns. So I'm just going to use, this is iris, it's purple, and I'm going to put quite a bit out, but I'm going to take my water bottle and just spritz that to thin that paint out. And I'm going to take just use my flat brush, a larger brush, but I'm going to use this really long circular brush. I'm going to mix that water into it just to thin my acrylic paint out and kind of make it spread. Now, one reason that I do this is because my paper on my journal, it's not like notebook paper. It is definitely, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's a different fiber type. So I'm just going to come up here. Let me move these out of the way a little bit. And I just want to make, I don't know, like sections. And I can tell that this is still wet here, so I'm going to stay away from this area for now. And just, I'm being very sloppy. There's really no pattern that I'm using. I can just kind of see it in my own mind. Just streaks of color. I need to wipe off my lid here and clean that up so then I can come back and get my white paint, because I'm going to do the same thing with the water to make it really thin, so then I can pick it up with my rubberized brush and just flick white on here. So let me move my girl here. Okay. Now, if you feel more comfortable when you do this, I do think I'm going to cover my desk just a little bit. This is just a Teflon protector. And I can put this under, because when I flick paint, it goes everywhere. So I don't necessarily want it on my desk at all. So I'll put this down. I don't care if it gets on this side of my page, but I'd really not like it to go everywhere on my desk. Okay. Just going to take a paintbrush and kind of mix that water into that acrylic paint. Now, what I'm doing is just thinning this acrylic paint a little bit. I need a little bit more water. It's kind of thick. And it keeps moving out. Okay, so I'll leave that just like it is. And I'm just going to take this brush and I'm kind of holding it at the end here to pick up some of that paint. Okay, just some of that paint on there. Now I'm going to take my brush and just lightly kind of pull those bristles apart. Now you could also, if your paint was thin enough, mine's not, you could just tap it and get that. So I'm just speckling my page with white paint. So I will let this all dry and I will be right back. Okay, so my paint is dry. I'm going to remove my Teflon sheet here. And I'm going to use double-sided tape. So I've got a tape runner here. This is just a Tombow tape runner. And I'm just going to move this to, just going to run this on my page in this empty area. Try to get along the edges really well without getting outside of the white. So sorry if you hear my son in the background. He is playing a game. And I've had to get on to him a couple of times. I'm trying to stay as close to the edge as possible. And I'm out of, am I out of it? No, okay. All right. So now I'm going to take my girl and I'm just going to lay her down on the area nice. Okay. So that needs a little bit there. Yes. Okay. Just smoosh her down on that. Oh, I love that. Look at that. Okay. So I decided I am going to use just my white Posca pen. And I'm going to write my verse. Let me find it again. Psalm 147, 4. And I'm going to use the NIV version of this. Just make sure that that's good. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is actually do it down here because there seems to be more room and I don't really want to, I could lay my hand down, but some of these white specks may still be wet. So I'm just going to write it down here. And it says, He determines the stars and calls them by name. And then I'm going to say Psalm 147. Those look like little stars. The colon. 4. and that is my entry using the new digital stamp for this month entitled He Determines the Stars. We painted the background using acrylic paints. We painted the digital stamp on vellum using acrylic paints, including a Posca pen for the little stars in her hair. But I am thrilled with this entry in my art journal. Thank you so much for joining me. If you happen to be watching on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Leave me a comment down below on your favorite way to use acrylic paints. And click that subscribe button and the bell for notifications. I am so glad that you spent some time with me today. I can't wait to see you again soon. Until then, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you. I can't wait to be with you again soon. Thanks for joining me. Goodbye.